Hello friends, welcome to my channel Sushant Chess Spice. Today we are at the next topic, that is the bishop endgames. We are at the fourth position of our topic. So we have got a position of 2 pawns versus 1. There is an outside passer for white, but white has to trade the pawns very carefully in order to reach a winning endgame. Because the g3 pawn is way too far from the winning square, and we'll see that it has to overcome 3 places which the opponent's bishop can guard: g4, g6 and g8. This position is white to play, and it is from a correspondence game. In the game, white played very accurately to convert the position. If white goes bishop into g4 here, then it's slightly incorrect because the black king approaches the pawn very quickly. After bishop a6, we see that if king tries to block the opponent king, let's say by king f6, ac7, now ke7 or something like that, whenever king goes away from the g6 square, bishop will settle on d3, and we will see that white will not be able to push his pawn to g6. This is one of the main defensive technique for black. Let's say after the moves here kg7, kd6, bishop f3. If the king is going far away from the g4 square, then bishop c8 just helps black. There is no way to block the bishop from between, that is from the f5 square, and this will be easily drawn after king c8. So white cannot take his king quickly far away. Hence the main line of analysis is the move king f4. King remains on the f4 square. If bishop comes to d3, white can block with bishop f5, then push his g pawn further. But black will not waste any move here. He will quickly try to get his king to the f8 square. After king c7, bishop f3, rightly trying to play the move g4, but kd6, g4, ke7, g5, white is smartly trying to use the f5 and g6 squares for his bishop. Black just has bishop c8, when he can just sacrifice the bishop for the g4 pawn and the game would be drawn. And after the only other move g5, we see that black can easily control the g6 square by means of bishop d3. And we will see that bishop g4, bishop f5 is possible, but black can control the g6 square in various ways. For instance, bg4, kf7, bishop f5, just bishop f5, king f5 is a drawn king and pawn endgame, and there is nothing much that white can do over here. Even if we take this position, king has managed to reach h6 and black king is on f8, this position is also still drawn because the short diagonal is of 4 squares. So if bishop manages to come to g6 also, nothing happens here. Let's say black plays bd3, bishop h5, bishop e4, bg6, bishop d5, and we see that by force the bishop occupies the f7 square. bd3, then bf7, if bh5, then again be4. So just to show you this example, I created this position. Let's go to the game and see what white did in order to win the game. White played the very strong king f4. The idea is very clear. If black goes bishop a6, then bishop a6, king a6, kg4, and we see that the king and pawn endgame is lost. After any other attempt to bring the king now to the king side by kc7, we see that black will lose tempo very quickly. After a7, one is material loss will be there, means without giving up the a pawn, white will win the g pawn, which will make the position clearly winning. Now after bishop f3, we see that just bishop takes g4, means the second pawn is lost, and by force bishop occupies the f3 square. After, let's say bd7, bf3, bishop into f3, kf3, kb7, but the g pawn wins. After bishop moves to f3 or d1, bishop into g4 comes with a tempo, and again bishop goes back to c8 to protect a6. So black has to waste move with his king only, and the move king a7 is forced. So what happens here, as we saw the previous line, we'll get to see that in this line the pawn will reach the g7 square. Once we overtake this g6 square, one crosses that, after which we will see the defensive diagonal, the short diagonal will be very small, of just 2 squares, and the longer diagonal, although is long, the white bishop can block that and force the black bishop to the shorter diagonal. So this king will now struggle to reach the e7 square quickly, like in the previous line. Let's see some analysis here. Now bishop takes g4. Of course, bishop g4, kg4 is a lost king and pawn endgame. So bishop into a6 forced. Now comes bishop f3. Idea is simple. Bishop can block from e4 if bd3 is played. And now comes kb6. In the event of bishop c8, there comes bishop e4, kb6, bishop f5, blocking the bishop's diagonal, bishop a6, g4, and we see the same situation after kc7, g5, kd8, g6, ke7, kg5, and the king reaches the h6 square by force. Same kind of position we will get in the game, so I am not going into the detailed analysis of that line. White will win after he gets kh6 and g7 by force. g4, pawn is heading to g5, kc5, king is trying to reach the d6 square. Very similar would be the move kc7, because here white cannot play king e5. If he plays king e5, then anyway he has to keep control of the g6 square from f6. Hence white goes for g5 straight away, kd6, g6. Idea is simple. If bishop comes to d3, he can go g7 followed by kg5, kh6. That position will come by force now. In the game, king e6 was played. After ke7, we reach a similar position. kg5, bishop d3, g7, bishop c4, kh6, kf7. After the move bishop e4, it's all over. Bishop is going to the h7 square followed by g8 queen. There is no good way for black to make any progress. Another plan for white is simply playing after king f6, king h7, kf7 allows g8. So bishop has two ways moves, king h8 and now bishop h7 followed by bg8. So bc4, bh7, bb3, bg8, bc2, and just the bishop can rest the move. There is no bh7 now, king just takes h7 and the game is lost. With the move king e6, he intends to get his king to g5 when the white king will be on the h8 or h7 square. So king wants to come from g5 to h6 through this route from behind the white king. Let's see how. After kg5, bishop d3, g7, king f7, king h6, bishop c4, king h7, king f6, king h8, kg5. Now the white bishop has to try to block the black bishop's control on g8. So bishop e4, king h6, bishop h7, and after bb3, bg8, bishop c2, bishop f7, bishop h7. That is why the move bishop f7, so that now just bishop e8 and the king has no place on the g6 square and black is in sukzon. King moves, then the bishop is lost. Bishop g8 just allows kg8 and white wins the game. Although these positions look quite simple, they are very tricky and it's very important to understand the underlying idea more than just trying to remember the moves. I hope you are finding these lessons useful. Do like, share and subscribe the channel. Thanks for your time.